There are many legendary stories throughout history where a mother has murdered her children in revenge for what a partner has done. The most famous story from Greek mythology is of Medea murdering her children in revenge for her husband Jason, from Jason and the Argonauts, who abandoned her for the king's daughter Glauce. The latest Hollywood movie called The Curse of La Llorona uses a lot of poetic license, but the story is loosely based on an event that dates back a few centuries. The story about the legend of La Llorona has been told to generations of Mexican children who have grown up afraid of this evil entity known as the Weeping Woman, whose misdeeds in life had left the spirit trapped on earth, where she torments little children. There are many various stories based around this tragedy, and the following are 3 interpretations. Story number 3. This story dates back over 200 years, where a woman named Maria married a rich man with whom she'd had 2 children. But over time their marriage started to deteriorate, and her husband spent less and less time at home. And whenever he was at home, he paid attention only to the children. One day whilst out, she sees him in the arms of another woman. Enraged with madness, Maria wanted to hurt him in the most extreme way possible, so she drowned their 2 children. But she immediately regretted it, crying out, "Oh my children," or "Oh my sons." Maria is said to have drowned herself afterwards, but when she arrived in the spirit world, she was denied entry and banished back to purgatory on earth until she could find her lost children. She was given the name La Llorona, which translates to the Weeping Woman. Legend says she floats over and near bodies of water in a white funereal gown, forever weeping as she searches for her lost children. Some versions of the story say she kidnaps or attacks children. Others say she attacks cheating husbands. No matter what story to believe, if you're out alone and hear a weeping woman, run for your life. The second story takes place in a rural village and is about a young woman named Donna Luisa de Oliveros, who was of Spanish Indian heritage. Luisa came from a poor family, but was known around the village for her beauty. One day, a wealthy nobleman called Don Nuno de Montesclaros travelled through her village. He saw Luisa and was captivated by her beauty. Luisa in turn was charmed by him and hoped that one day she would marry him. Luisa's family was thrilled at the prospect of her marrying into a wealthy family, but the nobleman's father was extremely disappointed that his son would marry a peasant girl. Luisa and her lover built a house in the village to be away from his disapproving father. Over time, Luisa gave birth to 2 sons. Unfortunately, her lover was always travelling and started spending less time with his family. When he came home, he only paid attention to the sons, and Luisa sensed that he was falling out of love with her. When she had not seen him for a long while, she decided to walk to the palatial home of his family in the hope of seeing him there and begging him to come home. She did find him, but to her dismay, he was in the centre of a lavish party, celebrating his marriage that day to a Spanish noblewoman. Luisa rushed over to him in tears, begging him to come home to his family. He pushed her away and coldly told her that because of her Indian blood, she was socially unacceptable and could never have become his wife. Filled with despair, anger and hurt, Luisa took her children to a river and drowned them in a blind rage. But when she came to her senses and realised what she had done, she went in search of them, but the river had already carried them away. For murdering her children, Donna Luisa de Oliveros was publicly hanged in Mexico City, and as a final humiliation, her body was left swinging in public for 6 hours. Challenged at the gates of heaven for the whereabouts of her children, she was not permitted to enter the afterlife until she finds them. Luisa was now caught in limbo between the living and the dead, where she would spend eternity looking for her lost children. Every night since her execution, her ghostly cries have rung out and would do so forever. She would always be heard weeping for her children, earning her the name of La Llorona. If you hear her crying, you want to run the opposite way. If you hear her cries, they could bring misfortune or even death. Apparently, many parents in Latin America use this story to scare their children from staying out too late. Story number 1 uses the same theme about a woman who was betrayed by a lover and in a fit of rage murders her own children and is executed for her transgressions. She begs the heavens for forgiveness as she has refused entry to heaven. She was given the name La Llorona and then wanders at night looking for children that she mistakes for her own. People who claim to have seen her say she appears at night or in the late evening by rivers or lakes wearing a white or black gown with a veil. Some believe those who hear the wails of La Llorona are marked for death or misfortune, similar to the Gaelic screaming banshee legend. Among her wails, she is noted as crying, "Oh my children, oh my sons." She scrapes the bottom of the rivers and lakes searching for her sons. It is said that when her wails sound near, she's actually far, and when she sounds distant, she's actually very near. That would be a confusing and terrifying experience. Although the legend of La Llorona is closely associated with Mexico, it is also known in other regions of Central and South America. Stories of weeping female apparitions are common in the folklore of both European and indigenous American cultures. The Chumash of Southern California have their own connection to La Llorona. There are even stories that date back to German folktale, dating from 1486, so the legends of infanticide has been a common theme throughout history.